One of my all-time favorite developers back from the Super Nintendo to PlayStation 1 era, maybe a little beyond. Even nowadays, they make some great stuff. They just don't hit the same anymore, in my opinion, but they still make amazing stuff, right? Squaresoft, or Square Enix nowadays anyway, they're facing a lot of troubles. That's what I want to talk about today, as there was some news that came out earlier in the day, and then it just kept evolving. So not too long ago, we did briefly discuss this aspect of it, where they announced that it tanked 140 million in losses due to content abandonment. Don't know what content's been abandoned, but they were letting their investors know, hey, there's some issues here, and we're putting some plans together, right? So the plans started coming out earlier today. They plan to aggressively pursue multi-platform game releases. More games coming to Xbox, PC, even, Nintendo, whatever Nintendo's got in store for us with the Switch 2. I would imagine maybe it's going to be, with the rumors anyway, it may be, more powerful to the point where it can be easier to have, the same game on multiple platforms. Maybe yet to see. They have heavily supported the Nintendo Switch with games, but it's mostly been like re-releases or the 2D HD stuff, things like that. Really cool, games that they've put on the Switch. But yeah, their main focus has been the PlayStation. And, I kind of accepted that back in the day. Nintendo 64 came out. We thought Final Fantasy, the follow-up to Final Fantasy 3 at the time was going to come out on the Nintendo 64, and it never did. Square abandoned Nintendo at the time. Many other companies did as well. They moved on to PlayStation. And I just kind of looked at it like PlayStation's the home of Square games, Final Fantasy. And that is kind of how it's been. Yes, Final Fantasy 14 is on PC. It's on Xbox now, that kind of thing. But a lot of their big releases have been, Final Fantasy has been on PlayStation. You had Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, remake, Final Fantasy 16. Those games were all like, restricted to the PlayStation for a limited time type of deal. And PlayStation sending them money. I don't know. However those deals work. This to me sounded like a good plan in a sense. Like, hey, stop with the exclusivity on PlayStation. Bring your games to PC, Xbox, maybe the next Switch, and just have at it. They're big games that have been coming out, 7 Rebirth, 16, they're saying they've been underperforming. And why were they underperforming? They're good games. A lot of people enjoy them, but I think a lot of people, myself included, I have an Xbox, I have a PlayStation, I have a Nintendo Switch. I have my issues with these companies, but then there's things that I like about them. But I think a lot of people are just getting kind of tired of console gaming. There's a big shift. And I've been saying it with Microsoft. I'm not a crazy fanboy. Just note if you're new here, like I said, I criticize and praise if they deserve it. And all three, console gaming companies have deserved praise and, criticism. I do like PlayStation. It's one of my main consoles, but at the same time, it's like, man, I don't want this company that I love going under. You know what I mean? Like, bring it to every platform. Don't have to just hold it all to the PlayStation. Spread the love. Let everybody who wants to play these damn games have access to playing them. Definitely, I would imagine if Final Fantasy 16 released on the PS5, the Xbox, and PC all at once, like, it probably would have blown up way bigger than what it did. Like, they would have made a fortune. That's just my assumption. Like, spread the love, make that money, because there's people on different platforms who want these games, and maybe they don't want to buy a PS5. It's just the way it goes, right? A lot of these games lately that have been coming out, I've shifted in the sense that, like, if it's multi-platform and it's on multiple systems, I've been buying the games on PC. Like, if they're available on PC, just, my thoughts with that, and I've mentioned this before plenty of times. It's like, hey, my Steam account follows me every damn computer that I build, that I buy, whatever. I go log in at a friend's house. Like, my library follows me. These consoles out there, their shit shuts down. You lose access. You buy a new console. There's no guarantee there's backwards compatibility. I think there's just this big shift now that more and more people are embracing PC gaming. And like, I just love console gaming because of the simplicity. Plug that bitch in, pop your game in and play, but it's not exactly that anymore. You pop the disc in, it's got to install, download updates. It actually seems more inconvenient than PC gaming getting started to play a game nowadays. But yeah, bring these games to everywhere, all over your face, all over the place. Let everybody have access to them. Like I'm looking at this as a positive. This is a positive to me. Bring your games everywhere. That's positive. But then the negative came out. Square Enix confirms US Europe layoffs as part of restructuring. And it's nonstop, man, nonstop. Every few days we're hearing about, every month, we're hearing about like another company that is being shut down or people, having layoffs and whatnot. So they had internal meetings today. And they state many of this, a videogamechronicle.com article. They say many of Square Enix main Slack channels were locked. Slack is like a employee, like get together type thing, communication thing, planning, meetings, stuff like that. And they were, I guess, just locked. The layoffs, they state the layoffs coincide with the publication of the company's quarterly financial results today, in which Square Enix said plans to rebuild overseas business divisions from the ground up and has begun optimizing costs at its European and American offices via structural reforms. A lot of times, it sucks for the individuals, but it's kind of like, were those specific individuals who are losing their jobs, were they at fault? Most of the time, I would argue no, they weren't. It's the higher ups, but the shit rolls downhill. The higher ups aren't gonna like get brushed off and fired. It's the people below them. Like, oh, we got to restructure, we got to let go, teams of people. But they're probably still profiting, getting their bonuses and all that stuff, and a bunch of people are just being let go. It's mismanagement. And part of the mismanagement can definitely be looked at as these exclusivity deals that they make and having these big, gigantic releases just going to PlayStation. It is what it is. I've said in the past recently that I see Sony and Microsoft kind of changing the way they're doing things. I go to those companies for the first party exclusives. Like, I don't expect Square to be exclusive to anybody. I expect Nintendo to have Nintendo first party stuff on their system. Sony, their studios make great games that sell your system. Xbox, same thing, but there's been a big lack of these types of games, in my opinion. This could only benefit everybody with the multi-platform thing. It just sucks that people are losing their jobs because of this, whole thing transpiring here. But yeah, there you go. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching. I do appreciate y'all. Bye.